Good morning. I'm in the middle of the desert, actually at the end of the world. I'm in front of Masada. You can see Masada right there. It's a cliff that looks like it was shook out from the mountain. Then you can see the cliff here, and there's kind of another cliff in the other side. This is the place that King Herod decided to hide his family from the enemies of his just before he went to be crowned in Rome. This is the place that around 1,000 Jews decided to hide themselves from the Romans after, a little bit before the destruction of the temple, 70 AD, and a few years later. Why? Because of it, we can actually climb the snake path. I don't know if you can see the white path there. Or we can take the cable car. Guess what? I'm going to take the cable car. Masada, ooh, look at that. I'm walking on the mud and I'm entering the car, which will be difficult because it's not mine, it's my wife's car, and it's going to be muddy. Then we are going to visit Masada together. Are you going to stay with me? Yes! It's going to be a little bit different than the tour that I took 2 years ago. I mean, the video that I uploaded 2 years ago. Then, see you. Bye bye. I'm going to use now the cable car, but before that, I wanted to see one of the 8 army camps around Masada. This is for the second story. This is not connected to King Herod, and you can see part of the siege wall that surrounded Masada. Then the story of us, it's actually 2 different stories. First one is about why King Herod decided to build a fortress here. Second story, 70 years gap, is why the Jews use it as their fortress to hide themselves from the Romans and what's happened to them at the end. Then let's climb up to Masada through the cable car. I'm now at the upper part of Masada. You can see the Dead Sea. The Dead Sea includes 2 parts. The artificial part is right there, and I came from there. Once a year, I'm trying to stay in one of the hotels there for a few days to meditate with my family. And you can see the kind of a canal. It's an artificial canal. It takes the water from the northern part, which is the real Dead Sea, to the southern part. Without that, the southern part of the Dead Sea will be already dead, and we are losing a lot of water. Then you can see here the siege wall. Let me see when the sun is in our eyes. Oh, I cannot see it. All right. Now I can see it. You can see the siege wall that goes all the way around, and there are a few army camps here. One is here, the other one is the big one, might be the hospital of the Roman soldiers. The path here, it's called the snake path. It's not the name that we gave it, it's the name that Josephus Flavius told us. And according to him, this is the name that King Herod used for that. Then in that case, the snake path, it looked like a snake, isn't it? And I'm letting the groups continue because I don't want them to disturb us. But I must tell you something. It's supposed to be hot, but not as hot as today. It's around 40 degrees, 100 degrees Fahrenheit. We are in the mid of September. Oh gosh, it's not so easy. And I want you to understand that one of the problems was water. There's no water. I'm not talking about that coffee that someone left here, but here, right there, you can see the aqueduct and the entrance to a water system. Every drop of rain kept for people. And in that case, there are so many tunnels here who actually will save every drop of water. You can see it right here. And we are heading to one of few gates. Today there are two main gates, but there were more than two. I know it listed about 4 gates to Masada, but those are two main gates. One more thing. To reach Masada from here, it was almost impossible. The Dead Sea didn't let people cross so many parts of it. Then in that case, the main entrance at the time of King Herod was from the other side, and we are going to see it. You can climb it by yourself. I need 2 hours in an ambulance on top of the mountain for it, and from time to time the door is closed. Let me see if I can show you the reason. Down from 9 a.m. you cannot use it because of severe weather. This is one of the entrances to Masada. You can see the original fresco. It looks like marble, isn't it? But it's actually not. It's looks like it because that's what King Herod wants us to think. Then this is the soldier guardian, and usually those are the kids who decided not to travel. Masada, not to travel in Masada. You decided to stay here.
They're not feeling good.
Not feeling good. And that room was, what is it, the ticket. It's actually not for the tickets and for the information, but that's where the soldiers used to sleep when they entered to Masada. Another important thing, and you will see it all over, is that ugly black line. This is the 1950s way to show you a little bit of history. Everything beneath it is how we found it. Everything about it, above it, it's the renovation. It's supposed to be dry. I'm sweating as hell. And this is the Israeli flag. It shows you that there's no even a bit of wind, and I'm sweating as hell. Then, Masada is a World Heritage Site via UNESCO, and let's look at what we can see from here. Casemate, this is the name of it, or air condition, casemate. But what is casemate? It's a wall. Let's start with it. You don't need a wall here. I mean, look what's happening here. You see the cliff? You don't need a wall. Then why he built a wall here? 2 reasons. The first one, if there is a wall, you won't be able to see what's happening in it. And if you will walk here, which I'm doubt that he did, then no one will see him. Secondly, it's a Roman fortress, and in a Roman fortress, you need to have some wall, and because it's like double wall, one wall, second wall, you can turn it into whatever you want. Storeroom, houses for the soldiers. Later on, the Jews came to here, use it as their rooms. You can see that they built here kind of a wall and an oven. Then every family that came to here around between 66 AD until 73 or 74 AD use it. And we're talking about 1,000 people, around 1,000 people. Now, usually all the tourists are going that way because that's the Acropolis. This is the most important part. but I'm not like them. And I will take you a little bit to see more of it. But before we will continue, I want to show you kind of a, I want to show you a kind of a map of Masada, and you will understand what we are trying to do today. If it's your first video of mine, then you must know that I had around 20,000 videos. I've been hacked lately, then now I have only 15,000 videos, so I think 17 already. I'm trying to find the rest. Then, in that case, this is Masada. We came from here. This is the Acropolis. You can see here the storerooms, the Roman bath, and the three palaces. We are going to visit it later on, but I want to visit a little bit that area. That area wasn't as gray as today. That area was, let me continue, agriculture area. Now, King Herod could build his palace here, but he built it on the cliff at the other side, at the Acropolis. Why? We will talk about it. But let's talk about King Herod. Why he was here? King Herod was at Jerusalem, and he chose between two. He could choose the Parthian, which are, let's say, the Persian of ancient time, somewhere there, or he could choose the Romans. He chose the Romans. Then in that case, at 40 AD, the Parthian emperor entered into Israel. Their idea was to kick out family of King Herod from here. Antigonus, the Hashmonite king. If you do know the book of the Maccabees, then it's part of it. Was loyal to the Parthian emperor. Then, in that case, when he heard that they are coming to, well, how should I say it nicely, kill him, he decided to run, and he did it. The destination was Masada. Now, why Masada? Masada is the end of the world. I mean, look at that. There's nothing around it. And he knew that no one will be crazy to reach that place just to catch his family, something like around 800 people. And then let's make the story shorter, he reached Masada. Now, if someone reached a place, then I'm sure that he knew it. He knew about the cliffs. He knew that a Hashmonite built something on top of it. We didn't find a lot of it, but in that case, he knew that he can survive here. Let's go to see what it is, although it's not so important. Or maybe it is. We are going to visit that area as well. This is the southern part of Masada. About visiting Masada, don't do that by yourself. It's so difficult to understand. Then, or watch that video and study it, or take a tour guide. Byzantine, what? We talked about two different periods. We talked about King Herod, and we talked about later on the Jews who actually came to here. And what's happening? Who are the Byzantines? The Byzantines were the Romans who converted themselves at the 4th century into Christianity. Some of them, monks, came to here because they knew that it exists. And they decided to be here because of so many reasons. First of all, it's already built. You don't need to build something that already exists. Secondly, look how beautiful is the gate there. Um, why not to use a place that someone built already? I mean, it's there. Then why not use it? And they knew that King Herod found the solution for water because you cannot live here without water. Then in that case, they knew that they will survive here. Amongst, they don't need a lot. They just want to be as close as they can to God and far away from the people. Then in that case, he left his family here and he went to um, to Rome to be crowned. Antigonus, the king of Judea, came to here and made a siege around it, and his family almost surrounded. They have lots of food, but not a lot of water. Here you can see one of the water systems, and you can see how big it is. Then, if there are water systems, it means that they might have rain, or they might have another source of water. Rain. I've been here for so many times. It's hardly rain here. Then, in that case, they were dependent on something else. The family of King Herod had a problem. No more water, lack of water, not lack of food. Then in that case, they decided to surrender. But just hours before that, look at the beautiful kind of a niche that was built by the Jews who've been here later on, not by King Herod. It was one of the rooms. You can see the entrance to the room, maybe a family that lives here. And they had a beautiful balcony. Or maybe it was for a different family. You can see that's 3 army camps and the cable car and one of two rivers that are here. And if you look at the river, it's dry, no water at all. Then in that case, just before they surrendered, it started to rain and it filled the water system. They survived. A year later, King Herod came to here and heard about the miracle that happened to his family. And that is a miracle. Let's face it. What he knew immediately, that because God saved his family, he will use that place as in his own fortress. Because let's face it, you don't need it. It's not the best place ever. The other side is Jordan of today. The other side, he built fortresses there as well. One of them is where John the Baptist was beheaded. Then in that case, he doesn't need it. But that is kind of a miracle that happened to his family. Then of course that he will build it. He never finished building it. That's why when his friend came to visit his friend from Rome, he took him to so many places, to Jericho, to Herodion, but he didn't bring him to here because we believe that he didn't feel like he finished that magnificent place and he was waiting for a better time. What is that? Don't worry, we're gonna visit it soon. But he knew that the first thing that he needed to do is to build water. I mean, to find the solution for the water. And he did. We will talk about it later on. His family came to here for the second time to hide because King Herod made another bad decision. He went to visit Augustus, which became the Caesar of Rome after he won the war between Marcus Antonius, and Marcus Antonius was a friend of King Herod, and he supported him. That was another way to say, ah, gosh, we made a mistake. Then, in that case, he came to Rome, but his family was right here. His family was right here, hiding. But look at the two birds. Those are the tristrams. Kind of a raven. I usually feed them with food, but sadly, I didn't do that lately because I didn't bring birds food. Look how beautiful is the cliff. No wonder that Josephus Flavius, that wrote has everything about it, mentioned that no one can conquer that place. Then, in that case, in 31 BC, King Herod came to Augustus and said, I made a mistake, but if you want me to rule Israel or Judea, I will do everything to show you that I'm loyal to you. And guess what? He agreed. Then he came back to here and took his family from that fortress. Then in that case, now they had no water problem anymore. Now he already built some palaces. Then they could live here and that's what King Herod thought. I'm going to live here in the desert. Although it's so difficult to live here, I will live here as a royal guy from Rome, from Italy of today. I will have the same things that I have having, and even more than that, because I am a king and I know how to live properly, just like the Romans knows. Even though there are a lot of problems here. I mean, look at that, it's the weather. I'm melting. Now, when the Jews came to here, this is the part of the second story. I know that I'm moving from one story to another. This is the rebels' dwellings. That is the slums area. Then let's start with that. The first one who came were, how should I say it in a nice word, zealots. Not the nice people, but they took the best places. I mean, we have palaces, why not to stay there? Later on, slowly, more people came. And after the destruction of the temple, a lot of people came. They have no more rooms at the wall. Then they build themselves kind of small houses. And we call it, in a way, the slums of Masada. Then you saw, oops, one of it. You know, when I came to Masada, I had no plans. I knew that I wanted to do something a little bit different than the other video, because there's no reason to see that video again. And every video that I'm trying to upload, even though I already made a video of it, I'm trying to show you a little bit of different things. Oh gosh, I'm sweating. There were 27 towers, and in front of you can see one of them. Again, though that group is walking from one room to another, I'm not sure that they know or understand the story, and this is a little bit sad for me. The view is amazing, but the story of Masada is the most important story. The story of Masada is not about houses. The houses is one thing. because we know everything from Josephus Flavius, then without that information, you won't understand the story of Masada. And it's going to be just like a boring place. But remember, everything was green here. You can hear the meh over that time. There were trees, lots of trees, olive trees, date trees. And then in that case, it was totally green. I mean, look at those bushes. Hardly, there's not a lot of water. And even there, you can see a tree. Not a lot of water and still does survive. Think about that. We found the solution for water. Then how come that place will be gray like that? Agriculture. I mean, the motto of King Herod was, someone might kill me, I must protect myself. And if we're talking about agriculture, columbarium, birds' nests, is one of the agriculture thing. Let that small car go. Run away! Then here it is. We have another two like that. What the birds are doing here, I don't know if you tried it. It's kosher. Then stuffed birds with rice can be nice. I myself don't like it, but I heard that it's good. And what about posts? Yes, they can send messages. And what about number two? You know that they can fertilize the fields with it. And for the temple, sacrifice. Remember the Holy Family? They brought two birds for the temple to sacrifice them there. And where is the wall? The door, where's the entrance? Was above. The idea is that the birds will feel safe here. Ah, nice, nice, nice. I'm the only one here. I'm sure that most of you that visited Masada with me never been here as well. Why not? Because usually for Masada we do have 1 hour, 2 hours, 2.5 hours. Then we are usually going to the most important sites. Well, I can understand that. That's why I'm taking that video, that you will know what you missed, or for the next time. When we are almost at the southern part of Masada, but let me surprise you with something important. Look at the view. Then who's Josephus Flavius? Josephus Flavius was a Jewish commander of the Galilee area. He was supposed to help the Jews to build walls and to prepare themselves for the war between the Romans and themselves. He mentioned so many places. He didn't mention Nazareth. The church that Nazareth wasn't a very important place. Now, before we will continue, a Byzantine hermit cell. Be quiet. You can see how beautiful it is. I mean, the idea that you are here with God. Then he was captured by the Romans, and before they killed him, he said, "You, Vespasianus, you're going to be the next Caesar." Just for fun, he kept him in a prison, and guess what? He became one of he became the Caesar. Then he turned him into a Roman citizen, or he freed him from slavery, and he asked him to write everything about the Jews because the Romans didn't understand that religion. It was totally different at that time. The Romans at that time were pagans. It's a what? It's a swimming pool. Gosh, there is a swimming pool here. It actually tells us that something special was here. I mean, someone had lots of water. It almost looked like a half Olympic pool or something like that, filled with water. A swimming pool. Now that family went down to the water system that I wanted to see. Another reason to be here. Then let them go out because there's only one person who can enter there. And we are already at the southern part of Masada. Another tower. Let's enter the one of the rooms to show you a little bit of it. You have to stay with me if you want to know how he actually solved the water problem. And look at the capitals here. And let's enter to see the view of it. The only fear of mine is not that I'm sweating as hell now. I brought myself lots of water because it's hot. Last time I took a video at Jericho, and then I got a message from the camera itself. It's too hot. It's too hot. I cannot bear it anymore, and that's it. It stopped. You can see how beautiful is the view. Let me take a picture of it. My wife won't understand me. I mean, she cannot understand me. We took a very good hotel at the south part. It's a 4-star hotel, and we are usually doing it between the holidays. Then it's a regular work week, and then the prices are low. And let me show you the view from there because it's spectacular. And instead of being next to the pool and in the sauna and in the salt pool, I decided to be here. Why not? Why not? I told my wife I will be on time because it's check-out day. We are leaving the Dead Sea, back to Tel Aviv, and tomorrow I'm already working. Then I need to be at the room not later than 12, actually 11:30. Southern Falls. Let's just climb up to see the view. What can I tell you? Such a beautiful view, and I saw that the family there left. You can see another Roman fortress, army camp, and there are another 3 there. Those 3 we already know, and the siege wall goes all the way around. Remember, there are 2 rivers here. One is here. The other one is there, and this is kind of the clue for the selection of the water. I must tell you that it rarely rain here. Let's go to the water system. Then let's continue with Josephus Flavius. He wrote us everything, but he never been here. Although we know that he actually been part of the Judean desert people. He never been here because no one actually allowed him to be here. King Herod won't invite him. He wasn't so important. The Romans later on who captured that place of course didn't let him visit it. He was a prisoner at that time. But he had a lot of articles or Roman source, because the Romans document everything. Then, oh, a big family is coming, heading to you. This is really different. Oh, youth. Okay. Now I know. It's not all people like mine. Well, you're not old, but I'm old. I have to walk at least 11,000 stairs every day. And guess what? I think I'm gonna do that today. Yesterday, I just ate and been in the freshwater pool and in the sea, the Dead Sea, and I ate and slept, air conditioned. Yeah, it's beautiful. And here I am, right here, entering into a water system, and let me tell you, it's impressive, but there's no water in it. The southern system. Ooh, spooky. There are few big water system like that, and that one is actually reaching the wall of the city. It's actually reached the cliff. Ooh. Look how beautiful it is. Mm-hmm. Sounds like the birds are here. Bats? I won't be surprised. No. That was a pigeon that is afraid of me. Don't worry, pigeon. I won't do anything bad to you. Look how big it is. The water source came from there. When it's rain here, hardly rain, then every drop of water was kept in those water systems. You can see the plaster on it, and you can see that the level of the water reached here. I mean, this is something special. I'm not sure that this is the only source of it. Later on, I will talk about another option. I think you will understand it better. You will accept it more than that, but this is beautiful, isn't it? I'm not walking all the way down. I need to walk only 11,000 stairs today. And it's only the beginning of the tour, and it's already 37 minutes. Did you subscribe to my channel? Did you send that video to everyone and ask them to subscribe to my channel to be part of my family? Yes, thank you very much. Not easy to climb. When is that the best time to visit Masada? from mid of October until, let's say, April. But as you can see, if you are not afraid of sweating and you have promised me that you will drink a lot of water, you can do it every day. Well, I didn't want you to hear me breathing. It sounds so bad. It's like the devil was here. And I just came from there, the water system. Another dwelling of the last one who came to Masada after Jerusalem been destroyed. And they had no more place, then they had to build themselves something else. But let us go to do those two places. Oops. There's a new thing here, walking on the cliff or beneath the cliff or part of the cliff. It's called the Masada Challenge. And if you want to know more about it, I never did it. It's so new, and I'm not sure that I'm not afraid of it. Then enter to the side of them and watch it. What is that building? I wonder. The restrooms? Did King Herod build here a restroom? Wow. Then let's start with that. We didn't find King Herod restrooms. Sorry. Too much information? But the great thing here is to have a cooler. And a cooler is good for drinking. And let's cool ourselves with it a little bit. Then I just want you to remember that we enter from there. That side is the Acropolis that we're going to visit soon. But what's that? In the time of King Herod, it was a small palace. And then, as you know, everything was used by the rebels. But who lived here? If there, I can say that the best friends of King Herod, which were zero, you will see another fortress, another palace there for the second best. Can I say the third circle of people who came to King Herod for, let's say, business? Maybe they stayed here. But everyone who was brought here and didn't actually walked, someone carried them. That's one of the entrances. The other entrance is from there. Then they brought here because of a reason. Now let's climb up. Well, just imagine that I'm carrying someone above me. We are almost at I think the second highest place of Masada. How are we actually inventing palaces? The reason we actually believe that that was a palace, and that was a palace, and that was a palace, is because we knew that the Hashemite family used to build palaces like that, exactly like that, bigger or smaller, that's not so important. And then in that case, some people actually believe that when the King Herod family came, it was already here. And what's that? Is that a mikveh? A mikveh? Is that a Jewish secret bath? Is that where the Jews purify themselves or not? Then let me tell you something about it. We found a lot of mikvehs here. Some of them were built by King Herod. King Herod was a Jew? Yeah, he was. Well, not the greatest one, but here in that place, God saved his family. Then here, when he built Masada, he built it like a Jewish place, or almost like that. Is that a mikveh? Certainly looks like it, but it might be a pool to cool the body of the people who were carried to here before they gave him the keys for their rooms. Is it? Why not? Why not to believe that it was like that? And if it's not, then let me show you something else that might surprise you. But for that, I have to walk slowly. Let's go out. See that place was built by the Jews who came later on after the destruction of the temple. Remember, we have two different stories. Story of King Herod fortress, and then for 70 years there's a gap, and the Jews started to visit that place from 66 AD when they started to rebel against the Romans until 73 or 74 AD. Then if that was a mikveh, that was a pool, or another mikveh, or a pool, or another mikveh. Jewish ritual bath. No, this is totally looks like a pool, but look at that. Storerooms. And let's go around it. You will see it from a better perspective. Look how beautiful it is. That is definitely a pool. Now we can be able to see it better. Although it's the exit of the Western Palace, let's climb it. It was something like 2 floors. The floor was actually was flattened, but mostly no material was cover it. Carpet, yes, carpets cover it, but the places that were close to water, carpets is not the best solution. Then they used mosaic floor. Now you can see the plaster here, and when we talked about colors, or didn't talk about color because you didn't see it yet, the entrance was white, kind of a marble, but here everything was covered with colors. That is a fresco. You can see the green, the red. Sadly, nothing survived, but don't worry, you will see more of it. I wish that I could enter there, but I cannot because I wanted you to see the mosaic from a better perspective, but we have no other choice but to climb it. Look at that. Only small part of it survived, but you can see that although there are, it looks beautiful, we believe that he built it in a Jewish way, no figures. The colors and the artists came from Italy, mainly from Pompeii. I don't want to talk now because there's another tour guide.
into these massive systems was absolutely, everyday
And that was a bathroom. And in that case, you can see mosaic. Remember, carpets won't help a lot.
By the way, if you're thinking these birds are
That's the bath. The entrance to another mikveh, another bath.
the Hebrew English, then I was hearing,
All right, reception is here, and that's why we know that that was a palace because it looks exactly like every other palace that were built at the end or just before the time of King Herod. You can see the background without colors; it looks like a marble. And sadly, the crown room is closed. Then we cannot go into it. If the camera will function, you might see a little bit of more. Then the crown room was here. Reception is right there. And that's how a palace used to be look like. See, that part is that part. The crown room was here. You saw the mosaic here. The other mosaic with the bath. And the main entrance was from there. We just enter from the exit because I'm doing a kind of a different tour. And this is the guarding room. That lady is a soldier now. She is a, no, you can. All right. She is, that's, no one, I mean, even to here, no one could enter. Remember, only the third important people, third circle, then guarding room. And today, lately, they're using that part that was added later on. It looks like more like a storeroom as a bar mitzvah celebration place. Well, that's how we found it. Beautiful, isn't it? Guess what? Another water system. That's Zahi. Yeah, can you solve the problem? This is the palace that we've been. This is the synagogue that you saw, and the storerooms. And let's go to see what's happening there. Let's not go in because it's not allowed. Let me see if we can see something from the door. Another tower. But it was the Tanner Tower. If you want to use leather, this is the place. Why here? Because it's stinky. Must be a little bit aside the city. Tanner, it's not from the time of King Herod. The Jews use it later on to survive, to work. Now we are entering slowly to the main area. Most of the tourists will be there. Now let's talk about what's happening here. The Romans at 73, 74 came to here and they deal with the Jews and said, if you will surrender, we will turn you into slave, we won't kill you. If you want, we will. The Jews knew that God told them not to be slaves anymore. Secondly, they knew exactly what their children will turn into it. In my tours, I'm showing you pictures. I didn't bring it here because, I am here for vacation, a vacation. Then this is the other gate, the western gate. And the Jews didn't speak Latin. Soldier didn't speak English, Hebrew. Then they gave the children coins. And at that moment, the children knew exactly what to do. The coins shows you kind of Kama Sutra. You know what is Kama Sutra, but that is a couple that wanted to do that. The children didn't know about it. In less than 10 seconds, they lost their innocence. In a way, is that the future for your children? No. Then before I will tell you how they actually killed themselves, I want you to understand that the Romans, when they heard the word, no, we're not going to surrender, they built the 8 army camps and the siege wall. And see that one of the army camps, this is the main one, that is where the Silva, the commander, lived. See the siege wall, the Roman commander, yes. And here you can see the Roman attacking ramp. Now we are talking about, let's say, 12,000 people. 5,000, 8,000 were soldiers, the rest were servants and people who came to help them. The people who built it were Jews, servants, and the Romans knew exactly how to build it. It took them to build it and to end the story around 3 months. Then in that case, remember, this is the wall. What I didn't tell you before is that the double wall, if someone is trying to destroy it, you can always fill it with something to make the wall wider. And they did it. They took all the wooden things from there and they covered the roofs. They brought it to here and they built another wall with those logs and lots of dirt. Then when the Romans destroyed that part of wall, nothing happened. There's another wall. And then they saw the wood, they set it on fire. But the wind actually started to destroy the attacking Roman ramp, and there's a group that comes now. Then I will give that place for them. Now we can see that. And you can hear the noise. Now you know why I ran away from here. You can see the attacking ramp. And the Jews trying to, look at those stones that they're trying to throw them. But the Romans knew their job then. When the Jews started to throw those stones to the valleys, they decided to work at nighttime, which was difficult for the Jews to understand what's happening there. And it started to burn the attacking Roman tower, but then the wind changed and it's burned the wall. The Romans went back to their army camp, and Jews knew that this is it. They tried everything to stop them without any success. They decided that the only way to end that story is to show them that they didn't surrender because of lack of water, lack of food, because they left it here to show that there are a lot. Secondly, they decided to kill themselves. Another columbarium, dove coat. Now that was another tower. This is the drama. Let's say that Josephus Flavius was right, and there were around 1,000 people. The only problem with Josephus, there are some problems, but because you've never been here, are numbers, not on here. So many places. Then let's say, if it's not 1,000, but he wanted to say that there were a lot of people, then a few hundreds. Most of them were old men and old women and children, only few ex-soldiers. Then the commander of that place, Benia here, choose 10 men and then decided that those men will enter to all of the houses. And we are going to visit one of the houses again. You saw the houses. And the family were lying on the floor, hugging each other and showing the throat to the 10 men who actually killed them. Wow, not easy. Then 10 men survived. One of them supposed to kill the 9. Then Josephus told us about the portrays. They wrote the names on it. And the last one set, after he killed the 9, set a palace that we are going to visit on fire, and then went into, killed himself by falling on the sword, just like King David. This is one of the rooms. Case made of the scrolls. And you can see one of the scrolls that we found here, but we found more of that. What actually happened here, that room is close to the army camp, and it's close to the Roman ramp. You saw it. The wall of that place was burned down by the Romans. Then the wall collapsed to here. Later on top of it, the Romans actually, soldiers who actually kept that no one will come to here, they stayed here. On the destruction part, they could talk with their friends there. If I will shout, they will actually hear me. And it was the easiest way to go, to reach that camp. Then we found so many things here. Jewish things, Jewish scrolls, a lot of them, I must say, and coins, and Roman things. Let's describe it. Then, the lower part were things that the Jews actually had here, and we are talking about so many scrolls. For example, part of the book of Leviticus and the Psalms, and songs of the Shabbat, which is, we think that it might be owned by the rebellion who came from the Essenes, the Essenes that are from Qumran, the one who wrote the Dead Sea Scrolls. We are not sure, but it shows you that we found so many of them. And look at that. This is from the book of Psalm. But the Romans left here so many things. Oh, forgot to mention that we found here a lot of clothes and shoes. The Romans. Oh, look at the bird. Yes. Paycheck of one of the Roman soldiers. And the most important thing that we find here, let me see if I do have a picture of it. I'm not sure. Let me see. No, I don't have it. But we found some poems, well-known poems. And one of them talks about suicide. And remember, the Jews killed themselves here too. Then maybe there's a connection to here. Then 2 layers, one of the Jews, one of the Romans. And we are heading now to another important site. Then some believe that it was built by King Herod. We believe now that it wasn't. It was built by the rebels, the Jews who came to here. Is it from the time of the temple or the time of after the temple been destroyed? Then we are entering to the synagogue. It looks like that. Let's try to find a shade. But I do have a good, very important surprise for you. What is a synagogue? Let's start with that. If you're a Christian and if you're a Jew, you know that Jesus and so many other Jews actually visited the synagogue almost every day. It wasn't a house of prayer that time. It was more like a community place. People talked there, read the Bible, studied the Bible, argue, curing people. I mean, Jesus did it too. That was the idea. And they were preaching. In that case, people used to sit around there to preach. And if we're talking about that, think about if you're a Christian, think about Jesus standing here and preaching and everyone actually listening to him. Let's say the synagogue of Nazareth. Let's say that everything that the prophet mentioned it was about me. But after the destruction of the temple, they built synagogues as a house of prayer. Today, the Jews are praying in the house of God, in the synagogue 3 times a year. You must understand one thing. It's not the house of God. The house of God is in Jerusalem. Today, it's the Dome of the Rock, a Muslim place. But every church is a house of God, but not a synagogue. A synagogue, it's a house of prayer. This synagogue is divided into 2. The people that, the main hall, and there's another room there. That room is for the Gniza. That is where the Jews used to bury holy books, like the Bible. If the Bible had been damaged, you cannot use it anymore, but you cannot throw it in the garbage. Then we find in that room part of the book of Ezekiel, the dry bones, the vision of the valley of the dry bones that talks about the prophet who saw lots of bones, and when he asked by God to pray and to bless that place, they becoming alive, and that's the idea of the people of Israel. They've been bad people, but they will always be born again for them, and the Christians see it in a totally different way. But let's go to see an amazing part here. And let's see if I think it's open. And this is not less important for me. I think one of the most important thing for me here. Let's see if it's open. And yes, it is open. But let's the people to go. I think this is the most important part of my tour here. I went to see the rabbi, Rabbi Shimon, who's actually copied the Bible. And how are you? It's good to see you. I'm taking a video. What book you're? Genesis, of course, because it's the beginning of the year. The wedding of Jacob, Rachel. Oh, right. And you can see that he is using a special ink. It's a kosher one, and he cannot make a mistake. And I'm so happy that he actually talked with me, and you can see what he is doing now. And it's air-conditioned room. And if you will ask him nicely, he will write your name on it, and he will actually to see how to contact him, and I will send you that video as well. But there's another group behind me, a French one of Amiel, and I will let them go.
Vous pouvez rentrer, regardez comment il écrit.
Then you saw something that for me is kind of an important thing. I might even cut that part of the video and upload it as it is about the synagogue. Now, it's important for me because if I believe that they built that synagogue after the destruction of the temple, it might be one of the first synagogues that were built at that time. And you must understand that after the destruction of the temple, Jews didn't know what to do because the only place was to pray was there. And suddenly they started to use the synagogues as the temples. Then in that case, until today, it's like that. And it's facing to Jerusalem, which is right there. Facing to Jerusalem is very important thing. But if we believe that it was built a little bit before the destruction of the temple been destroyed at 70 AD, and maybe it was built by the first rebels at 66 AD, then it's one of the last synagogues that used as an old version synagogue before the destruction of the temple. Anyhow, both of them are important. Remember, you can see the black line that tells you about how we found it, and above it, it's the renovation. You must understand that we use the same stones that have been here. It wasn't so difficult. And now we are going to solve the water problem. King Herod knew that if he wants to use it, he needs water. Without it, he won't survive. Food, it's not important. He can export it, import it from all over the world. From here, you can see beautifully the the Roman attacking ramp, and then the siege wall, and the main army camp. Why there's another part of it? Why it's divided into two? Because later on, after they occupied that place, some of the soldiers left here because they didn't want. They wanted to be sure that no one will enter or reach back that place. Then they didn't use a lot. Why it's so far? Because you cannot throw rocks, stones, arrows into there. All right. The first thing that you can see from here are the three levels of his palace. This is the northern palace, the main palace. That's where King Herod used. Now, he wasn't here in summertime, he was here only in wintertime. But we are here for the water. Look at the small holes here, and there's a small holes there as well. You can see here two aqueducts. The small holes are entrances to a huge water system. Remember the one that we saw? Exactly like that. As big as that. But how he catch the water? What he did, he built some dams, and then you can see the aqueducts who brought the water into it. Let me show you how it actually looks like. But there's no rain here. The water source, sorry about the noise, it's from flash floods. I will explain you about it soon. A little bit of here, a little bit of there, and see what's happening to the water. Remember the small holes? Those are the two aqueducts. One of them came from the northern valley and the southern valley. Remember that we do have two rivers here. Then the only thing that left for him to do is to bring the water from down there all the way up. Some people believe that the lower one, he actually brought the water from the gate that we enter through. This is the story of the water. He had lots of water for years to come. There's not a lot of flash flood, but if one flash flood will reach that area, he is more than okay. He will survive. Then in that case, now you know that the Jews didn't surrender because of lack of water. Now you know why there's a pool pupils here, and you saw it. Usually I'm not going to the pool area, then people don't believe me. But now you can believe me. The only thing that I see here is that huge water system. That was, the water reached there, the upper part of it. And another mikveh that was built by the Jews, not by the Romans. Let's enter now to his palace. There are two entrances. We will enter through usually the exit of Masada. And if you did that tour with us or with me, usually we left it from there. But now we're entering through the exit. I need to know what time it is now, because I don't want to die by my wife today. They already knows that kind of rooms. This is the guard's rooms. It looks like marble, but it's not. King Herod had no money for it, and there's no marble in that area. What I didn't like, I didn't know until a few days ago, is that we believe now that that was the first place that was built in that area. Remember, the water was crucius. Then the gate for the Watergate, Americans, we do have Watergate as well, is here. Then the donkeys just bring the water up and down all the way. There are two ways to do that. You can see the aqueducts. Then people could walk down, and there's another axe all the way up. It's like not the same path as here. Then the animals could work 24 hours a day. Then that might be the first structure that were built here by King Herod, or even by the Jews later on. The community life is here too. We found a lot of names that were written in Hebrew here. Then maybe we're talking about instead of money, or maybe they oh, look at the Tristram. Maybe they used as the commentary, I don't know, forms or something like that. We're not sure, but we found lots of them right here. Another entrance to the toilet, but we are climbing up to the roof of the storeroom of the Roman bath. And as you can see, there are a lot of tourists here. We have 16 storerooms. We didn't excavate all of them. Then their future is still on. But here you can see storeroom for liquid products and storeroom for dry products. What's the difference? Here they covered it with a plaster that water cannot disappear. If one of the vase will break, the wine will go all the way to those holes, and the one who broke it will die, but the rest of the wine will survive. We find here a lot of products from his time. Wine from Italy, apples from Naples, Italy, garum, which is a fish sauce from Spain, I mean, he knew what to collect it because everything he saw that place, as I see it, is like his own private place. And he said that when he will finish building it, he will bring the best of the Romans to actually look for it. I mean, to visit him. More storerooms right here. But we are just above the Roman bath. Let's talk about it. It's like a gym. If you've been in a gym, you know that that you're not really coming to the gym only for that to exercise. You are meeting friends, talking about what you're going to do in the future, uh, another salad later on, or maybe cake and coffee. But you're coming clean. You're not stinky, and this is one of the rules. You cannot enter to the Roman bath stinky. Strange, isn't it? No, it's not. Think about what will happen to 1,000, only 1,000 soldiers, Roman soldiers who've been in the war for like a week, and now they are arriving to the Roman bath, and they want to take enjoy it, take sauna. Guys, it stinks. You cannot do that. This is the entrance to the two other palaces. I'm not sure that I do have the time for it, and let me ask them. Guys, what's the time now, please?
It is 9:59.
9:59. All right. Thank you very much.
Yep.
Then it's 10 o'clock. I do have 1 hour. Then let's see. No, 1 hour to be in the car. I'm not sure. I'm not sure. Look at the Rolling Stones. That's where we find the portrays with the names. And I can read it. Junio, Giora. Then I'm looking for Ben Yair. That's Ben, Khartoum, Giora, maybe Giora because it's Ben Yair. Yeah. Then we found the portraits with them. Is that their portraits of the 10 people or not? We are still discussing it, but I believe that we're talking about it. Now, there's a wall here. Why there's a wall here? Why it's so high? Because behind it, it's the palace. And remember, King Herod didn't want to see what's happening. I mean, I didn't want people to see what's happening there. Then he hid himself from there. And your research tells us that when the Romans came, there was a lot of sand here, and they actually took them 2 weeks to occupy the palace. If it took them 2 weeks to occupy the palace, it means that the story of the 1,000 Jews is half correct, or maybe even not correct. Maybe it's actually happened, but some rebels decided to not to do that. We don't know, but this is a new theory. We will visit the Roman bath later on, but let's go first to visit the palace. Oh, I can actually call it the palaces, although it's a palace that made of or built by 3 different palaces. This is the northern palace. Let's climb up the stairs. Remember, everything was covered with dirt, and actually when we came to here in the 50s, we started to excavate, and we found so many things. All right. You're not supposed to do that. You're not supposed to climb all these sites, ancient sites. But to pose, it's very important. Another beautiful viewpoint of the Roman bath and the storerooms. And of course, the Dead Sea. All right, they are still posing. Then I will show it to you From here, the three army camps, the Roman siege, and there's another army camp that you cannot see from there. The northern part of the sea behind that is Jordan of today, and the south part is the 5 stars hotels. I'm staying in the 4 stars. No, it's all about money. כן, זה מה שאני גם חשבתי. Then it looks like that, and I didn't mention it. It's 11 stories gap between that and that.
So that pergola. You're safe. Yes.
Okay, one more.
This is the upper part of the palace. And it's a replica of his best friend from Italy. Then, because we know where his best friend lives, then we know where his bedroom is. But let's talk about the palaces. We are right here. You can see the balcony right there. And we enter through those rooms. Look at the round one. It's called Toulouse. It's mostly a Greek one, but the Greek use it as a temple, let's say for Aphrodite. Did King Herod use it as a temple for Aphrodite? I'm not sure. And there's another place, another palace, with a different kind of Roman bath. Then, from the balcony, we will actually see those two others. But before that, let's enter this bedroom. We are now at King Herod's bedroom. Well, are we sure? We are not. I believe that we are. You can see the mosaic floor. This is a totally Jewish one. No figures at all. It's black and white. It's a strict Jewish mosaic floor. And you know that King Herod built beautiful. He knew how to do that. But in his bedroom, which the only one actually entered to his bedroom was him, and maybe one of the servants, or maybe one of the wives, then in that case, it was his own place. And still he used a very, in a way, boring mosaic floor, but a totally strict Jewish. Oh, look at that, Tristram. Sorry, I didn't bring you some food today. Let me take a picture of it as well for the Facebook and the Instagram, which I'm sure that you are part of it as well. And let's ask ourselves, why build it on that part of the cliff? And another question is, why? I mean, you saw Masada, it's a flat area. You don't need a lot. And still he did it. Why on the cliff? Few reasons. See the Toulouse and the lower one. A few reasons. The first one is that why not? Second one, if his best friends will be in the palace and he lives here, they will be best friends there. 11 stories gap, and from there you couldn't see anything about him. You can walk here naked and you won't see him. Another reason, it's one of the best view of Masada. You can see the sunrise, and you can see Megiddo. And if you're talking about Megiddo, according to Josephus Flavius, some of the people who lives here in Masada went at Passover Eve to En-Gedi, and they killed around 700 people, took their food and brought it to here. That place, according to Josephus Flavius, been destroyed at Passover Eve as kind of a punishment by God. I mean, I'm talking of Masada, by the Romans. Another important thing is that they had there lots of fresh water until today. Around 20% of the fresh water comes from Engedi, which is it's a beautiful oasis. And until today, yeah, people are coming to see there lots of fresh water, waterfalls. You can actually dip yourself there. It's beautiful. And then the Romans had to go all the way to there, or by the sea to Jericho to get fresh water. And at the same time, the Jews had lots of water because of the aqueduct. The Romans couldn't reach the aqueduct because the Jews they actually threw some stones on them. It was difficult for them, but anyhow, the slaves went there. Another thing that you can see here is the Roman siege wall and another army camp. Forgot to mention that in between the army camps, there were kind of towers. And at nighttime, only at nighttime, the Romans actually had patrols all the way and they had to meet each other. If they didn't meet each other, they knew that that something happened, and someone tried to sneak out, and maybe they hurt them. Then, in that case, they knew immediately that someone is trying to do something bad. The Jews couldn't leave that place, and no one could enter to hear as well. Oh, it's so quiet when they decided to leave. All right. I don't know if you can see that army camp because the sun, it doesn't show you. There's I hope that you can see that. There's kind of an army camp, part of the siege wall. See, that army camp is not part of the siege wall, it's outside the siege wall. We believe that people who patrolled that every night used to sleep here, and they went to patrol here, patrol to the other side, and they met the others as well, who came through them, and they knew that everything is more than okay. Now let's go to the Roman bath. Although I must tell you that the Roman bath, although it sounds like, oh, it's a bath, it's a Roman bath, it's supposed to be hotter, it's a sauna, it's the coolest place here. Now, why to have a Roman bath? Because it's a Roman fortress, and a Roman fortress must have a Roman bath. Although, believe me, I'm now in a sauna. I'm taking a sauna right now. It's so hot and humid. I'm sweating as hell. I decided not to go to the other two Roman palaces because it's 11 stories gap. But I'll do that quickly. No, I'm really not good on time. My wife will kill me. What should I do? You know what? I will do it quickly. 11 stories. I'm crazy. It's almost 40 degrees. Almost 40 degrees. And look at him. He just climbed up. It looks like he's going to die. But because the lower palace is beautiful, I will do that for you. You already been down there? And you're still smiling? It's not too difficult? No English? All right. Yeah, it looks difficult. I can hear them breathing, and I'm going to do the same thing. And you won't you won't see me doing it. You won't hear me climbing up. It's not the stairs that used to be. The stairs were hidden. Josephus Platius wrote that it was curved in the rock, but it wasn't. But it was covered. That no one could see you climbing up. Why I'm doing it? Because I told you that I'm going to do things that I'm usually not doing, that you will be able to see it. Then if you won't see the Roman bath, nothing will happen to you. because I do have it in the other videos of Masada. Sadly, there's no entrance to the Tulus, the round one, Aphrodite temple, or as we believe, he just used to deal with friends politically or financially. And if you will say, no, I'm not accepting it, the only way is down, baby. It's better to sign a contract. Another mikveh is right here. Why there's a mikveh? Because if you signed something and you are a Jew, you must be purified, especially if you're talking about holy things. Then a Jewish ritual bath. The Tulus, the round thing, is to the right. Some of you will ask me, or already ask me, how to support me. If you reach that point, it's 1.5 hours already, then you are the one who might do that. If you look at the description, you will find a link for Buy Me Coffee or to, wow, I didn't drink a lot, Buy Me Coffee and PayPal. You can do that through them. If you want to find it, just send me a message and I will send you the link. Every penny actually helps me to keep on doing those videos for you. Today I'm not working anyhow, but it's instead of being with my family that now enjoying cool pool and asking themselves why I'm doing it. I'm asking myself the same question. This is the lower one, and this is the part of the ancient staircase. And I will feel free to climb. But here you can see a wood from the time of King Herod. You see if I can. Yeah, can you see it? I will touch it from here for you. The one who built the staircase used wood. I'm touching it. Then this is the entrance to the lower palace. Ta-da-dam! Colors. This is the first time that you can see the colors. And it's looked like a beautiful marble columns, but it's not. Look at it. It was covered. It was built with part on top of a part, and then a plaster. And it looked like marble. It looked like a Roman palace. But it's not. It's limestone. In that place, we found 3 bodies, maybe the victims of the Romans. Over that time, it was a person, a man, a woman, and a child. We found here the hair of the lady, the sandals. The colors here are not the original ones, but it used to be exactly like that. And as you can see, when he colored it, it looked like marble because that's what he wanted you to believe. But you know that it's not. Part of it are in the museum that will be next year when I will come with our tourist. I will be able to take another video and but other places that I didn't actually visit. And beneath us is the Roman bath that he built for his best friends. They didn't use. Wait a minute. All right, telephone. It doesn't. So that's the entrance to the Roman bath. And I'm thinking about only one thing. I have to climb it. I have to climb it. I have to climb it. I'm crazy. But look at the view. It's worth it, isn't it? And I will laugh in my body. They won't hear it. And the people who will climb all the way up. You see the round thing? And see those 3 people there? That's where I was standing, and I said to myself, it's too hot for me. I'm not going to walk all the way down. But I did it. Yay! All right, climbing up. You know exactly that you're not going to hear me breathing. I will try to do that as quick as I can because I want to enter to the Roman bath as well. Pa-pa-pam. Pa-pa-pam, pa-pam. Then I'm starting with the regional stairs, but the rest are not. I'm alive. I did it. Yeah. Remember, we started the crazy tour of the 2 other palaces from there. This is the room that they found the portrays. And we are heading to the Roman bath. Remember, we talked about it, that it's like a gym. Everyone are coming to mingle. But then, if you still, let's say, not so clean, you have to take a bath, and we'll show you exactly where. And then there's a cloak room and a Roman bath, cold and hot pools. And this is the mingling area, right here. You can see the mosaic floor. It was very similar to his palace. And remember the pool. It's a Roman pool. You have to clean yourself, but it's a mikveh as well. He built it, King Herod. Why he built a mikveh? He was a Jew. But I'm not sure that he was the best one. Why mikveh? Because I think he saw that place as a temple to God. God saved his family here. You must understand that. Let's stay in the line. And the first room that we will enter will be the storeroom. Here, you will change your clothes. Now, as I believe, the Romans were naked. The only thing that they were wooden shoes because the floor was hot. But the Jews, I'm not sure that they were naked, totally naked, or half naked, as I believe. The Jews used that room as well. See the columns that they built it as a bench. They didn't mind about the colors. They didn't mind about the tiles. They're here to survive. And because of it, some of the tiles will survive too. And we know that he used the tiles at the Jewish temple as well. If that was a pool, the question is, who did it? The answer might be built by the Jews, for sure, as to purify their body before they enter into the pool, or to clean their feet. I always thought about children pool. You can see again the tile here. The cold pool is right here. After being in the sauna, you have to cool your body as well. Then, in that case, you can see that, and it might be another mikveh. See, the entrance of the water came from there. A mikveh needs pure water, let's say, from the rain. You can see colors here, and a sign of the same tiles of the black and white opostela. And hot room is there. It's like 2 rooms, bigger room and smaller room. We need circulation all over. The problem is that smaller room floor will touch the biggest room floor. To avoid it, you build some pillars and we are now walking on the floor of the small room. Then beneath us, you will see right now some of the columns.
When the men are going to be here, morning or afternoon. I asked this person,
And look at the tiles here, see the marks of it, to avoid those two rooms for touching each other. The other tour guide, his name is Zahi as well.
And the women do all the
Then
matchmaking and all
the oven is right there.
naked in the steam. My friends, this is not, if I am a guest.
And let me show it to you from here.
And see a bathhouse on mountain in the desert. I say, who built this? They tell me, how the great built this?
Look at the ceiling.
Is he a man?
It's not flat.
Angel of God or God himself?
Light's not flat.
See all idea of how the
Because if
great-
one touch of the water will fall on the head of King Herod, the servant who will be next to him will die. To avoid it, the water will go to the side of the wall and the floor will be dry. You can see the oven area. And look at the flowers here. It's like second years. And we already talked about the storerooms, and this is for the liquid products. Let me show you a little bit of it. Now look how big it is. It was only for him. He already killed most of his family when he was here. His beloved wife was floating in an aquarium full of dirty water. That's how the Mishnah talked about it. That's how it looks like. Well, the wooden thing, most of it was taken to the siege wall. Remember, they tried to enter. The Romans tried to enter. Some of them not, and it was burned down. And we found it for mostly one person. One person. Let me hope that it's still not 11 o'clock. I need to take the cable car of 11:15, and I will go straight to the car, drive as fast as I can, but not fast, not too fast, to meet my wife, to take a shower, to kiss my child, and to say goodbye, and to go all the way back to Tel Aviv, which will take us at least 2 hours. That's another tower. I'm not going to climb it because, you know, my life is dependent on it, and this is the reception of the palace. Remember how the reception looks like? Just like that. Yeah, remember we saw it, but not that one. But that reception was full with colors, because this is the main one, and the colors and the painters are from Pompeii. But in Pompeii, Italy, you could see so many figures. A lot of them are naked, not here. What's the time, please?
10:32.
Okay, thank you very much. I have 10 minutes to reach the cable car. I need to be on time. I promised my wife, but I want us to visit another room. And this is the commander residence room. I'm usually starting the tour from here. Can you imagine it? Every water system started as a quarry. And this is the entrance to it. We found a lot of ovens and cook places. Remember, they just use it. Another, look like another reception. In a way, it might be, but we will go to that room to see that even in that room, he wasn't here. King Herod never visited. I mean, if the commander, if King Herod needs a commander, the commander will come to him. Now, look at the view. Gosh, it's so cool and nice. And this is the, I hope that I will reach to the next cable car. But look at the window and the oven. Oh, that's where they could cook the meal. I'm talking about the rebels who've been here. Maybe the first one. There's another room with colors. Wow, I need to run all the way. And I think we prepared a major tour of, well, we saw everything. I'm really surprised. It took us, let me see, almost 2 hours. But I didn't take a video of every step that I made. Then if you want to see a lot and you are a small group, you need at least 3 hours. There's usually cable car every 15 minutes, every quarter. But before we will do that, then I might be a little bit late, but not so much. I have 25 minutes of driving. Let me show you what we did. We started from that gate, which is right here. We went to visit that place. We saw the pool there and the water system, and there's some other palaces, and the synagogue, and the storerooms, and the Roman bath, and the 3 palaces of Masada. We did it. Then, I'm not going even to drink water. I will drink it in the air-conditioned car. I'm not going to use the restrooms because I actually been with you as much as I could. We are living from the western wall, eastern wall. See, now it's closed. You cannot even walk through there. Let me see if you will wait for me. I'm running as fast as I can. Hey guys, it's the wrong way. Wrong way. And we did it. Thank you very much for being with me. Toda. See you in my next video.